Greetings, folks. AnIolairGhorm here with a World of Warships division replay featuring Lynn Wilkie in the Tier 8 Japanese destroyer, the Akizuki, and myself in the premium Tier 8 German heavy cruiser, the Prinz Eugen. We're in a domination match on Sea of Fortune, with each team bringing 4 battleships, 4 cruisers, and 4 destroyers to the match. And yes, as you can see, we're bottom tier. Lynn's ship build is pretty typical for an Akizuki captain. He takes the speed boost special upgrade to extend the action time on speed boost, because this destroyer is generally perceived as pretty sluggish. And my ship build has a heavy focus on AA, although there aren't any carriers in this match. And I take the hydroacoustic search special upgrade to extend the action time of hydro. Highlights for this battle obviously will focus around challenges and the ability to succeed as a Tier 8 ship in a Tier 10 battle. I want to call out a couple of key allies that will play a critical role in this battle, the Harugumo and the Seattle, and we'll review their results later in the battle and be talking about their action during the game. And then I want to continue to request feedback from viewers. I've been getting feedback from a variety of people, mostly supportive and positive. That's good. I've also gotten some feedback about how I can try to improve both my delivery in these commentaries, and sometimes my commentary comes off as pretty stiff. I kind of feel like I'm trying to present to people, so I put in this sort of formality into my voice when I'm presenting. I'm going to try to break that a little bit. I also want to try to improve my camera control on my own vessel, because I tend to have a fair amount of camera cancer, especially when I'm in a stressful situation. So I'm trying to improve that as well. So a couple of key feedback points I have gotten from people over the last few reviews. So in any case, let's get to the gameplay on this battle. So we've moved east here to the Charlie Cap. Lynn was obviously very wary about trying to move into the cap without knowing where the radar cruisers were going to be. And right now it looks like the opposing team has completely left sea wide open. We don't see any ships anywhere close to sea at this point. So Lynn is just going to move right on in. We obviously see that there's an opposing destroyer that's moved into Bravo. So Lynn is sending torpedoes into the cap to try to discourage them from moving forward, and maybe if we're lucky we get a hit on a destroyer. You can see my position north of Charlie. I want to support Lynn, but again, without knowing exactly where all the battleships are, I need to be careful about when I poke myself out. You'll also see that in very quick succession, 3 ships went down, 2 on our team and 1 on the opposing team. So there's already been a quick loss of ships in this battle, with us being down already 2 destroyers, including the one that was at Bravo and one at Alpha, I believe. So we're already in a deficit on that front, although we are about to capture Charlie, so that's cool. And Lynn is just going to kind of play it very cautiously here until we get the cap, and then he's going to go find things to shoot, because Lynn loves nothing more than being in high DPM ships, especially high DPM destroyers, and shooting stuff all the time. So that's kind of his foray. Picking on the map here because I want to get I'm trying to encourage the battleships to come with me into Charlie as we push through on this flank, since it does look like the flank is wide open. We switched to my view in the Eugen because we catch broadside view of the opposing Chapayev here, and the Prinz Eugen and the German heavy cruisers at this tier have notoriously powerful not only AA but also AP shells. They're very good at beating up on opposing cruisers, and here I'm going to get a few citadels on the Chapayev before he is about to go down. We lost sight on him here for just a moment, but a lot of ships put a lot of fire on him very quickly. He's got a couple of fires burning, and he's going to go down here in just a moment. So that will definitely help getting that radar cruiser out of the way. All of a sudden I've got the opposing gearing that is in Bravo putting fire on me. So I pop hydro, there are his torpedoes, and now I'm going to close in to spot him, because we have an allied Seattle and a Monarch that potentially could put fire on him as I'm moving closer to Bravo here to light him up. And Lynn continues to move south after going through Charlie here, and we've switched to his view. where he's going to start putting fire on the opposing ships. Basically has no counter, so he's able to fire with complete indiscretion on the opposing ships. We switch back to my view because now my hydro has lit up the gearing, calling target on him. We need to get him down. I need to be kind of careful here because I'm potentially, well, I am in firing range of at least a couple of battleships, both the North Carolina and the Yamato. I want to try to keep the gearing there lit up. Here comes a salvo from the Yamato, and I'm fortunate that I only take one overpen out of that salvo, so I was able to mitigate most of the damage. But again, I continue to call target on the gearing. We're going to switch back to Lin's perspective because he does have a shot on the gearing, although he's kind of at a very extreme range here for Lin's guns. Lin's going to try to get him down, or at least get some shots in on him. But the destroyer's going to get out of reach. Switch back to my view because the destroyer is moving forward. And so I'm going to send out a couple of torpedo spreads to hopefully catch him. And if that doesn't work, we're going to shoot him. So here's the first salvo. It's going to take the remainder of his health. And this is what I mean about my camera cancer. I tend to do a lot of zooming in and out. I apologize for that. I'm going to switch, and with this next salvo, I'm going to take him down. So the destroyer's out of the way. We're even on the ships right now, but we're behind in points because we don't have Bravo, and we're not taking Alpha. The opposing team has just now secured Alpha. We're a little heavy on the east side. Our battleships are a little bit impacted into Charlie. There are going to be a few times where I'm going to call out to the battleships to either push through or come back to help defend the flank. But having them stay in Charlie right now isn't really going to be helping the team because it really limits the number of targets that they can be shooting at. We just lost another ship, so now we're down on ships and we're down on caps. Lin is able to get in a position here where he's able to fire freely on the opposing Yamato. There is the opposing Akizuki, and we're going to keep an eye on that opposing Akizuki here over the next couple of minutes, because Lin's going to poke out here. He notices that the opposing Akizuki smoked up and is staying relatively stationary in his smoke. So Lin's going to take advantage of the situation and use his torp reload booster to send a couple of spreads of torpedoes into that smoke to hopefully either flush the destroyer out or ideally hit him. So we're going to keep an eye on that. And we have this low health Yamato that is now under a lot of pressure from a couple of fronts. Lin is just going to keep his eyes on the Yamato, so the Yamato stays detected this whole time in the event that he tries to get behind islands from some of our ships that are on the north side. He won't be able to get into concealment and stay out of reach of the battleships that have now pushed through Charlie. Now, Lin does get a torpedo on the Akizuki in the smoke, but he doesn't quite kill him. And these torpedoes, obviously being Japanese torpedoes, are very potent. Yamato is almost dead, so Lin's going to open up here because we want to get this ship down. We have a 2-ship deficit, and now we have 1-ship deficit. But we also know that there's an opposing Akizuki that we can't see yet that has also been hit by torpedoes. Now we switch back to my view because the Harugumo here that is north of Alpha and myself are in a position with the Seattle to try to contain the opposing team on the west flank. So right now I see my job as trying to keep the opponents from pushing through and being able to pincer us. And this opposing Salem, is giving me a lot of broadside. So again, here I'm going to be using the German AP to put some citadels into him. Unfortunately, I opened up a little too much here, and I ended up taking probably a citadel from him as well. So I'm quite wounded here. I'm going to have another repair party coming up in about a minute. So I took probably more damage than I really wanted to, but we were able to get that cruiser down, or we're almost about to get him down. You can see he's very wounded, and our allied Harugumo is putting a lot of fire on him, the machine gun that it is, and is going to finish off the Salem here in just a moment. Then the next ship that the Harugumo and I are going to work on is this Cleveland that just popped up that's full health. Now we switch to Lin's view because we can see that the very low health Akizuki was indeed down to just like 100 or 200 hit points, and our allied monarch was able to finish him off. So that's good. So now we're even on ships. And I also want to draw your attention to the fact that our allied Seattle, which was helping with the west flank, excuse me, has moved into Bravo to help us take that cap. Now he's under some significant pressure because the opposing North Carolina looked like he was about to move into Bravo as well, and that would have been a serious risk for the Seattle. But the North Carolina looks like, well, he did run aground. I'm not sure what he was focused on. He puts out a full broadside onto our allied monarch and finishes off our monarch. So we're again even on ships, but we did get the Bravo cap, which is cool. And so hats off to our Seattle for both supporting us on the west flank, but also helping to secure additional caps. So even though we're even on ships and we now have a cap advantage, we're still down on points because the opposing team has held caps substantially longer than we have. So we're still in a deficit. Now we lost our final battleship. So our team has no battleships remaining. The opposing team has 3, and they have 2 cruisers. The Harugumo and I, if you can see on the north part of the mini-map, have been working on the Cleveland, and we're going to get the Cleveland down here quite shortly. I'm obviously not showing that part of the replay because a lot of the important action here is also happening here on the south side. There goes the opposing Cleveland. So again, thanks a lot to our Harugumo to helping to finish off a couple of flanking cruisers. We are back even on ships, but we're still down on points. Lin is going to continue to operate from range here, putting fire on the North Carolina. I'm a little more out of position than I would have liked to have been. I'm a little farther north than I wanted to be. I'm going to get back south here to help put some more fire on these ships. The Seattle is doing a really good job putting a lot of hard fire into the North Carolina. So the North Carolina basically is just gone down. Lin has gotten a torpedo on both the Musashi and the Richelieu, and the Richelieu's torpedo hit was actually with flooding, and that's going to be important here because he's now very vulnerable to any sort of dot damage. The you can see that there's an opposing Ibuki that has moved into Bravo and is directly behind the Seattle. So he's come in. The Seattle has no counter at this point. He's doomed, and there he goes down to the torpedoes from the Ibuki. So it's 3 of us, the 2 destroyers and myself, or Lin, the Harugumo, and myself against the 2 battleships and the cruiser. And we're going to now put some fire on the Ibuki that is in Bravo and is now about to move north out of Bravo. The Richelieu and the Musashi are also moving in towards into Bravo. We're going to switch to my view because the Ibuki is coming out here, and the Harugumo and I are going to focus our attention to this cruiser. So where with 2 other cruisers giving full broadside, the German AP, again, I apologize for the zooming. This is something I'm trying to improve my skill, my patience on, but the cruiser giving a lot of broadside here is going to take more citadels from me. And Ibukis in particular, and the Japanese cruisers, other than maybe the Zhao, are notoriously squishy when they're broadside. So with a couple of citadels and some sustained fire from our Harugumo, we get the Ibuki down. So now we're down to 3 on 2, with the Musashi coming through on Bravo as well as the Richelieu. So I'm going to close in here. We're going to switch back to Lin's view since he's putting fire on the Musashi to help reset the cap. But more importantly, you can see that there is the low health Richelieu that he's now going to turn his attention to. So you'll notice my position on the northeast side of Bravo, trying to get into a position where I can do a torp ambush on the Musashi. Lin is going to work on putting fire on this low health Richelieu. The Richelieu gets a pretty nice HE salvo on Lin. Knocks out a couple of modules for a moment, sets them on fire. But Lin, with the high rate of fire and the IFHE, is going to be able to get down the Richelieu here. And just a couple more salvos. There's the high caliber for Lin at about 170,000. Now we're going to switch back to my view on the Musashi here just a moment, because the Musashi is very slowly poking out. He knows we're here. The Harugumo is putting a lot of fire on him. The Musashi has got his torpedoes aimed at the Harugumo, so right now I feel relatively safe. Apologize for the sirens there. I've sent out one set of torpedoes, and they do look like they're going to find their mark here. The Harugumo goes down, but we are able to finish off the Musashi, and we win the battle. So it is indeed possible to succeed with tier 8 vessels in a tier 10 match. Lin and I come in first and third position for experience on our team, and we do want to offer again a huge shout out to our allies N7 Noobzilla and the Harugumo and Headbullscrew in the Seattle, both of whom were really instrumental in us being able to pull off a victory, and I'll leave up the results for both Lin and myself. So again, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the commentary and the replay. Please do leave your comments below. And as always, we hope to see you out there, and we wish you happy sailing.